Living alone again in my 40s is not what I expected. Or living and loving again in my 40s is not what I expected. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be the title of this video. I don't like making up titles. I'm telling you. Anyway, I just got back from Berlin, my hometown, and there is a fly buzzing around in the living room. Sorry for that in advance. So yeah, I just came back from Berlin, and I stayed there for a couple of days, and I don't know, it's so weird, you know. I just feel that the streets of Berlin just know this younger version of me. If that makes sense to you? Like, just all the smells and the corners with all the memories. And even though the city has changed so much, I just feel this connection, kind of like I'm in a relationship with the city. It's so weird. Anyway, now I'm back here, like in my current regular life. Yeah, being a mom, working a regular job. I don't know, trying to keep everything together. And honestly, sometimes it just feels like I'm living these two separate lives. Like I'm slipping in and out of different selves. I don't know if you can relate. Maybe you're much younger than me, maybe you're much older, like from totally different life circumstances, but that's the beautiful thing about this medium. It brings us together, you know? And yeah, and maybe you know this feeling of living these different lives at once. And it can be beautiful, but it also can be quite challenging. Right now, I just feel a strong contrast between then and now, like who I was and who I'm becoming. And it really got me thinking about the topic of this video, also like related to the topic of being in limerence with your life or being in limerence with a dream. Someone wrote me also a comment like they really have to let go right now of a dream they held their whole life, and it's very painful letting go of that dream. Yeah. Someone is shouting very fiercely right now, like outside. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nastya. I'm 42 years old. I'm a human being. I'm a mom. And yeah, life has thrown me around a little lately. So yeah, just in a nutshell, like almost 3 years ago, I almost lost my whole family, like my mom, dad, and sister. And like shortly after that, my 16-year relationship ended. And now, like 2.5 months ago, my sister left this world. So I find myself in this new chapter, I would say, you know, where, yeah, everything feels kind of unfamiliar, sometimes unsettling. But also, there's the fly again, but also like kind of magical, I have to tell you. Lately I'm feeling the magic again, because I feel like I'm constantly rediscovering myself, you know, not once but over and over again, like in each moment, through each moment. And honestly, you know, if someone had shown me this version of my life right now, back then, in the past, I probably would have been totally terrified, and like I would have said, well, God, Nastya, if that's where you're headed, like, I don't know, no thanks, I'll pass this version. I don't want that. So yeah, but because, you know, kind of I had this image in my head, this narrative, like how my 40s should be, maybe how my life should be, you know. Safety was very important for me. I wanted to be safe and kind of settled, and even though I never was like that, I kind of always was afraid of that part within me. But anyway, and because kind of that's just very often what you observe, kind of people getting older, like above their 40s, 50s, and then they get like sort of, you know, and have leading these typical life, in air quotes, but, you know, with family and garden and house and garden. cat and dog. Anyway, nothing wrong about that. That's beautiful. That's how I imagined my life to be too, but well, it all turned out quite differently, but that's okay. I just imagined myself living like with probably my then partner in a house with a garden, maybe a cat, whatever, I don't know. But definitely like in a safety, like where everything kind of is settled. But the truth is, like even back then I was kind of lying to myself or not being like truthful with myself, because I mean, let's be honest, we're not static, we're not fixed beings, we're not like fixed roles in a script. We're human, we're living beings, and we shift, we stretch, we break. Yeah, so, and we become and we unbecome. Some relationships also, they're meant to maybe last for a lifetime. That's beautiful, like kind of when people evolve together, grow together. We also did that for 16 years, really. We went through ups and downs and through really painful stuff. But other relationships they just teach us what we need to know, and then it's time to let go and to evolve. And like the love with my then partner, the love we had, it was really deep. It was really, really true love, and we also still love each other as friends. But this kind of, just partnership love, it had just run its course. And staying together would just have meant blockage and would have meant, I don't know, pain, to be honest. So we chose, also with pain, but with truth, to part ways. And it was the most self-loving thing to do. I totally believe that. So one thing I'm realizing more and more now is that living means loving. And, love shouldn't fuel anxiety. At least not all the time. Love shouldn't make you feel like you constantly need to prove yourself or your worth. It's not supposed to be a performance or like I don't know, like a tightrope walk or something. It just should be a reciprocal giving and receiving, a steady current, and something that nourishes both people. And also not someday, not like in some distant, idealized, better version of the future, but right here, right now, because now is all we have. In this sometimes quiet, sometimes messy thing we call life. And just in the realness of it all. The realness of everyday life. That's what I believe. So, and now I was talking about love, but honestly, that's also how life should feel. Life should be something that we keep chasing, like our dream, or it should be something we're just allowed to live in, allowed to sink into, even when it's imperfect, or especially when it's imperfect. My fellow creator and beautiful human, Anna Goldberg, a big inspiration of mine, she just made a video about why she doesn't romanticize her life. And that really resonated. And I could, just tell you right now why I don't romanticize my life or kind of relationships and love in general. It's not because I don't believe in magic. I'm telling you right now, I do. I believe in magic. It's just, I've been through so much hardship the last years. And in these moments, kind of when you're changing the diapers of your father, for example, there's nothing you can romanticize about that, truly. Sorry. There isn't. There just isn't. But also, I just feel, and I rediscovered, there's just so much beauty and magic in the mundane. And that's just what it is. It's just, of course, a change of perspective, just to see that and to value that again. And, in the simple, just unfiltered moments, these moments that most people, and also I, like in the past, just overlook and or scroll past, because we just feel everything kind of always needs to be so flashy, and we just need to fix this or that circumstance to fully be able to live and to connect to life and to other people. but that's an illusion, in my opinion. It's just, for example, like the way your child holds you with their whole body, you know, or the way the sun falls onto your kitchen counter early in the morning, or the first sip of tea after you cried your heart out, or a message from someone who really sees you. Not because you're trying, not because you're performing, but because you're just being. That's magic. And that's the kind of love I believe in. And sometimes we need to go through limerence, and we need to go through these relationships with life and with people that are challenging, and where we kind of feel like we're always left longing and kind of left in the state of proving ourselves, proving our worth. But, you know, that's not love. We truly need to separate that. You know, love doesn't need to be loud to be real. It doesn't, you know, it just lets you exhale, and it starts inside. And you can feel it in the body. Like a sense of calm and a sense of just being there as you are. And now I'm in my 40s, and I don't know, is that age where the world says you're a mature woman now, whatever that means, the kind of labels, you know, life and the world, not life, but certain kind of societal norms put on you. I'm not a girl, but I'm a woman now, I'm a mature woman. So anyway, you know, it's just like, supposedly I'm not someone anymore whose whole life is stretched out endlessly ahead of them. And you know what? I think that's wonderful, because, I mean, to some this might sound limiting, but you actually don't ever really know when your life ends, by the way. But to me, it's also like the total opposite, because I feel it's liberating. It truly is, because it makes you kind of treasure time so much more. And, you know, I don't want to waste it. No. I don't want to waste it proving myself, my worth, to people who are not even able to hold space. And you shouldn't either. You know, I don't want to shapeshift just to be loved. I've done that already, and I know where this road leads. So now, you know, I feel like I'm discovering my worth. Finally, in my 40s, who would have thunk? Like back in my 20s and 30s, I was kind of so, lots of things, I feel like I was so ego-driven, like my ego states were kind of in this protection mode, and that's fine, it's part of life. But right now I'm feeling like I kind of learned to integrate like these ego states more and more, and I feel kind of this strong current of energy kind of flowing between myself and the other. And so I just feel like this consciousness just flowing through us and connecting all of us, and that's such a beautiful thing. And that's kind of why I just feel my worth more strongly, because I feel it through the people that I love, like through my friends, through the connections I made here. And also thinking about my sister, she didn't have a partner, she didn't have this typical life, but she had this circle of friends, and they just held her like these roots. That's so beautiful. And so that's how I just also feel my worth, just and also I'm, interestingly enough, would have never thought that I would say that, but I'm kind of rediscovering like my femininity, like my feminine side. Not the one like from like the glossy images, of course, but you know, the wild, intuitive, and kind of earthy part within me. Also learning to honor my masculine elements, of course, too. Yeah, just kind of everything that makes being a human so exciting. And I just feel there's just such a power in aging. And, you know, it's this steady, you know, quiet kind of power. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's deeply rooted. And that's beautiful. Yeah, you know, I really truly feel there's just less pretending now, less performance, more truth, more soul. So, and that's also why I'm looking forward to getting older. I'm looking forward to the future. And you know what's interesting? Something that's happening too, and what I wouldn't have expected about kind of living and loving in my 40s is kind of I'm discovering suddenly things that I would have probably rolled my I know I rolled my eye at when I was younger, that I kind of labeled as esoteric because I had like a fixed image about them in my head, like tarot, for example. I started to do tarot readings, and I'm telling you, I'm very rational, very analytical, skeptical person. So I think it's kind of funny because now, you know, I'm just realizing how much prejudice I had because I felt like it's this fortune telling thing. And it's just realizing it's just not about that, at least for me. It's just because we only have the present moment. It's so much about listening, about tuning into the symbols, the archetypes, you know, the quiet reflections of your own story, your soul landscape, getting into a dance. It's like all about dance, you know, dancing with life. And yeah, it just happens when we open ourselves up to that. And it's, I mean, different for everyone. You know, anything can be a medium for expression, you know, creative expression, for truth, for self-discovering, whether it's a deck of cards or a line of poetry or a walk through the woods or a conversation with someone who can hold your gaze. That's beautiful. I think if we're courageous enough to slow down and to truly listen and tune in to the music of life, I think we begin to see, to hear, and to feel ourselves more clearly, more truly. And we begin to speak with more honesty, and we begin to trust, you know, we begin to trust that not everything needs to be proven to be real. Not everything needs to be proven to be real. And my sister is real. I can't prove that she's here with me, but I can feel it. Yeah, and maybe that's part of aging too. Realizing that there's no need to explain the magic.